This podcast is brought to you by Boulder Chemistry.
Welcome back to the AI Analysis Podcast. Today, things are going to get a little spooky.
Ooh, spooky. I like the sound of that.
Yeah, we've got our hands on some really fascinating source material. We watched this great interview with Charlotte Sullivan.
Ah, the actress from Goosebumps, right?
Exactly, the classic 90s show. For a lot of us, she was a pretty vivid part of our childhoods through that.
Definitely. Which episode was she in again?
You Can't Scare Me. Courtney King.
Right. Courtney King, the super brave one.
That's her. So our exploration today, it isn't just about revisiting a scary TV episode. It's more about peeling back the layers of this conversation we watched with Charlotte.
Okay. So what are we looking for?
Well, we want to extract some surprising insights from their discussion, not just about what it was like acting as a child or behind the scenes stuff, which is cool too.
But something deeper.
Yeah, exactly. About the nature of fear itself, maybe. And how these childhood stories, these Goosebumps tales, they still resonate, decades later, often in ways you wouldn't expect.
That sounds fascinating.
Yeah.
Because what's really compelling here, I think, is seeing how in an informal chat, just a candid conversation like the one they had, can really illuminate these universal human experiences.
Like what?
Well, everything from the very practical, sometimes challenging realities of being a child actor.
Balancing school and all that.
Exactly. All the way to these deeper psychological truths about how we actually confront the things that genuinely scare us.
Okay, I see where you're going.
We're going to try and find those aha moments that are kind of nestled within the dialogue itself. It just shows how much depth you can uncover when you really listen to an unscripted conversation.
Okay, let's dig in then. So the source material, this interview we watched, it comes from the Goosebumps Crew podcast.
Oh, okay. I know those guys.
Yeah, hosted by Isaiah Vargas, Bjorn Pellick, and Nick Shaw. And these guys, they're not just casual fans. They make it super clear right up front. They are massive, devoted Goosebumps nerds.
Huh, yeah. They wear like a badge of honor, don't they?
Totally. They cover everything. The books, the TV shows, movies, video games, merchandise, the whole 9 yards.
So they know their stuff.
Oh, absolutely. And that deep knowledge, that almost encyclopedic understanding, it sets a really unique stage for the interview, right? It's not just some generic chat.
No, it's a conversation between an actor and her most passionate, informed fans. The questions are coming from a place of real love and deep understanding of the material.
Exactly.
It's actually quite remarkable, isn't it? That level of dedication from a fan base.
Yeah, it really is.
Not just consuming the content, but actively creating platforms like the Goosebumps Crew. It's not just, passive reminiscing.
No, it feels more alive than that.
It really does. It acts like this vibrant hub for all those behind-the-scenes stories. It bridges the gap, between the creators, the actors like Charlotte, and the generations of audience members who grew up with these stories.
Turning nostalgia into a living conversation. I like that.
Yeah, it injects new life into these old stories and shows how pop culture can become like a fundamental part of our collective identity almost.
So the specific focus in this interview is Charlotte Sullivan, who played Courtney King in You Can't Scare Me.
Gotcha.
And for anyone who needs a quick refresher, that episode first aired October 5th, 1996. Season 2, Episode 7.
Wow, 96. That takes you back.
Doesn't it? Directed by Renee Bonnier, written by Peter Mitchell, and based on book number 15 of the original R.L. Stine series. So it's a pretty significant piece in the Goosebumps universe. A really iconic episode for a lot of fans.
Which brings up a really interesting point, actually. How do actors, especially ones who were kids back then, how do they even remember specific roles or details from decades ago?
Right. It must all blur together.
Exactly. And Charlotte herself, she admits it pretty openly in the interview. She says she has no recollection of her audition for You Can't Scare Me.
None at all.
Nope. She even jokes about it, says she's sigil.
Sigil? What's that?
Uh-huh. I guess it's her word for being forgetful or, hazy about the past. It's pretty charming, actually.
So she doesn't remember auditioning.
She figures she would certainly have had to have auditioned, which makes sense. But she notes that this kind of memory gap, especially about auditions, is super common for actors. It's often just a whirlwind of different projects.
Huh. Okay. But then the conversation took a really interesting kind of sharp turn.
Oh, yeah. How so?
Well, Charlotte makes this pretty pointed comment about other actors she's met, the ones who claim they just walked in and poof, got the part effortlessly.
Love those stories.
Yeah. And she just laughs and says, oh, God, they're liars. They're such liars.
She really said that.
Yep. And then she contrasts it really sharply with her own experience. She emphasizes, you can really hear the pride in her voice, that she had to work for that role.
Wow. That's refreshingly candid.
Isn't it? It's a very human, kind of unvarnished moment. She's basically calling out what she sees as industry myth-making, pushing back against that whole idea of effortless success.
That detail gives you a surprisingly grounded, unfiltered look at how competitive the industry is. Even for child roles, right? Which people often think of as just fun and easy.
Totally.
It's like a subtle critique of those easy success narratives that get passed around, either by people wanting to seem effortlessly talented, or maybe by the media loving a Cinderella story.
Right. Her perspective seems very down to earth.
It really does. It highlights her pragmatic, hardworking attitude and challenges that idealization of early stardom. It's a reminder that even those kid roles often required real grit and determination.
Not just a lucky break.
Exactly. True achievement, she seems to be saying, often comes from sheer dedication.
And speaking of those early Goosebumps roles, the conversation naturally touched on Ryan Gosling.
Ah, yes. The other famous Goosebumps alum.
Right. It's pretty well-known trivia that one of his first big roles was on the show, too. And Isaiah, one of the hosts, mentions that the Goosebumps crew actually tried to get Gosling on their show.
Oh, really? What happened?
Well, apparently his team responded that he doesn't do fan projects.
Ouch. That's
Sure.
quite a contrast to Charlotte's approach, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. Charlotte's so open, and then you have this kind of gatekeeping.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That contrast is incredibly stark. It's not just that he doesn't do fan projects, but it says a lot about the carefully curated brand narrative that major stars often build.
Protecting the image.
Pretty much.
Mm.
For many, their early work, especially child roles or genre stuff, it becomes something to distance themselves from. A stepping stone they want to leave behind, not revisit. It's a strategic choice.
Yeah.
It really highlights how even huge fame brings its own anxieties and deliberate choices about public persona. It makes Charlotte's genuine enthusiasm and willingness to revisit her past, especially on a fan platform, feel even more authentic and refreshing.
Yeah, it definitely shows different ways actors navigate their legacy.
Totally different paths.
So before Goosebumps, Charlotte had already done, as she put it, a couple movies.
Okay, so she wasn't brand new.
No, but she really emphasized that she was still in school and her mom was worried about school. That was the priority.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
So acting was not allowed to do this regularly. It was only really permitted during like summer break.
Okay. So education came first, acting was secondary.
Very much so. It gives you a clear picture of the priorities back then.
And that offers crucial insight into the practical side of things for child actors and their families, right? Trying to balance professional work with, actual childhood and education.
It's a common concern for parents, I imagine.
For sure. Ensuring their kids' well-being isn't sacrificed for a career. It means that even with talent, normal life and those key developmental things had to come first. It created a specific, sometimes limiting path.
She mentioned Harriet the Spy specifically
Oh, yeah.
as her very first time on set ever. It sounds like it was quite the introduction.
I bet.
She openly admits she was exceptionally green, said she had no idea what marks were.
The floor tape.
Yeah. And she was only 11 years old. Imagine being 11 and thrown into that whole disciplined, technical world of a film set.
Wow. That's a steep learning curve. But it shows how those early foundational experiences, like learning about marks on Harriet the Spy, must have prepared her for bigger roles, like Courtney King.
Building the toolkit.
Exactly. Each project becomes a practical lesson. Trial by fire, really. Learning on the job.
So, shifting to Goosebumps itself, Isaiah asked her if she was familiar with the franchise before she got cast.
And was she?
She remembered the books, the iconic ones. But then, with that same candor, she admits she probably would have lied and said I read them just to get the role.
That's relatable. A little resume padding.
Totally. Haven't we all done that a little bit?
But what's really fascinating is what she said next. Her observation about the books.
Oh.
She feels the books are actually remembered more for the covers.
Interesting point.
Yeah, she specifically mentions the Mud Monster cover. Says she can have vividly in my head forever.
That's true. Those covers were incredibly striking. Tim Jacobus, right?
Exactly. It suggests the huge, maybe underestimated role of visual marketing in kids' books back then. For many kids, that scary image on the cover could leave a way stronger impression than the actual story inside.
Especially if you were just browsing that cover grabs you.
Totally. The artwork was absolutely key to the brand's success.
And speaking of iconic images, they talked about her appearing on one of those TV Presents book covers, the novelization of the episode.
Oh, yeah. How did she feel about that?
Well, she had this great self-deprecating humor about it. Pointed out her expression on the cover.
What was wrong with it?
She said, my mouth is kind of like this. What am I doing? Why it looks like you're mid-sentence. You're literally, you're mid-speech, like talking the boys' ears off, pretty much.
Uh-huh. That's specific.
And then she joked, they could have maybe chosen a better shot.
That's brilliant. It's a lovely moment of self-awareness, isn't it?
Yeah.
Shows how actors, even looking back decades later, can be critical or just amused by their old promotional images. It's like seeing an old-school photo and just cringing slightly.
Totally. That what was I thinking moment.
This week only, rock bottom pricing at Boger Cabinetry. That's an additional 20% off our already unbelievable pricing to transform your kitchen, bath, or office. If you need cabinets, you need Boger Cabinetry. Get inspired at bogercabinetry.com.
Okay, let's shift focus to the episode itself now. You can't scare me. The hosts on the Goosebumps Crew gave a nice little refresher on the plot in the interview.
Good idea. Remind us.
So it revolves around these two boys, Hat and Eddie, and they are just relentlessly driven nuts, as they put it, by Courtney King's constant show-off attitude about how brave she is.
Right. Nothing scares her.
Exactly. So their whole goal, which just keeps escalating, is to figure out some way to actually genuinely scare her.
And does it work?
Well, that's where the humor comes in. The interviewers really highlighted this. They described it as having that classic womp womp sort of humor.
Ah, the trombone sound effect humor.
Yeah, where a big plan just falls totally flat. It creates this real Wile E. Coyote scenario.
Okay, I see it now.
The boys' attempts to scare Courtney just consistently backfire, hilariously, often on themselves.
Like what? Give us an example.
Okay, so they try to scare her with a snake, but it ends up scaring the teacher instead, while Courtney just calmly holds it, almost bored.
Of course she does.
Then they try a tarantula, and they end up getting locked in a closet with it, and Courtney has to rescue them.
Oh, the irony.
Exactly. This constant failure drives them to their ultimate extreme plan down at Muddy Creek, which is where things get, properly spooky. It's great comedic irony.
That dynamic is such a classic comedic setup, isn't it?
Totally.
It really relies on those escalating failures and the ironic reversals. You build up the tension and pop it with a laugh.
And you kind of sympathize with the boys' frustration.
You do. But you also appreciate Courtney's, well, kind of annoying, unflappable nature. It's that repetition, the predictability of the boys messing up that becomes part of the fun, especially for kids watching.
But this whole setup, playing that kind of character, brought up an interesting point about the acting challenges.
For Charlotte, you mean?
Yeah. She specifically mentioned that she struggled a lot with the dialogue.
Really? Why?
She said the copious amounts of dialogue she had was one of my biggest problems and her biggest stress as a kid. And she pointed out the boys, Hat and Eddie, didn't have nearly as much to say.
Huh. You don't usually think about dialogue load being a stressor for child actors.
Me neither. But Isaiah, the host, explained why she had so much dialogue.
Why was that?
He said Courtney talks a lot specifically to hammer home why the two boys are, really annoyed with her.
Okay, so the dialogue itself was meant to be annoying.
Exactly. He described her as someone who talks very highly of themselves, sort of like a holier-than-thou sort of personality. But, as he also pointed out, she's not doing anything wrong, per se.
She's just confident. Maybe overly so.
Right. Her constant bravado is what gets under the boy's skin.
That really digs into the nuance of playing an intentionally annoying character, doesn't it? Without making them just a complete caricature or totally unlikable.
It's a fine line.
It really is. Charlotte's challenge wasn't just memorizing lines. It was delivering them in a way that was meant to grate on people, but still felt believable. Maybe even innocently self-assured.
Yeah, making Courtney plausible, not just irritating.
Exactly. It shows a real subtlety in her performance, even back then, understanding how to convey that through delivery.
Speaking of things that might annoy some people, or at least trigger phobias, the live creatures on set.
Oh, yeah. The snake and the tarantula.
Charlotte talked about playing with the corn snake, called it really cool.
She wasn't scared.
Not at all. She pointed out corn snakes are not venomous at all. They're quite lovely and quite docile. She even said she tends to gravitate towards the snake.
Wow. So her character's fearlessness wasn't entirely acting then.
Seems like it. Which is a fascinating behind-the-scenes detail, right? Using real animals. You wonder about safety, the actors' comfort levels.
Definitely. Her being comfortable with the snake adds this layer of authenticity.
Then there was the tarantula she had to pick up.
Okay, that seems scarier.
She remembered there was a person on standby to be my arm, which sounds a bit odd.
To be her arm. Like a double.
Maybe. Or just ready to step in. Anyway, she did it herself. In one take.
Impressive. Was she scared of it?
Apparently not. She found the tarantula quite docile, saying, once you learn that these things are really very shy and really you are the main predator in the situation.
That's an amazing perspective. Turning the fear around.
Isn't it? But here's where it gets really interesting. Remember Eugene Linsky, Mr. Mortman?
Yeah, from The Librarian, another classic.
He had described this invisible glove process for handling tarantulas in his episode, like a special spray to protect from the hairs.
Right, I remember hearing about that.
Well, Charlotte says she doesn't remember being sprayed at all, and she jokes, I think they left me to the wolves. I don't think they protected. I certainly don't feel protected in that one.
Seriously.
Huh.
So maybe they didn't do it for her episode. Or she just forgot.
Who knows? It highlights maybe different practices on set or just how memory works over decades. Adds another layer to that behind-the-scenes reality. Maybe a bit of that fly-by-the-seat-of-your-pants 90s TV production feel.
Definitely. But the best part about the tarantula story
Oh, yeah. What's that?
is the life-imitating art twist.
Go on.
Charlotte revealed in the interview that she now has a pet tarantula.
No way. Seriously.
Yep, named Charlotte. After Charlotte's Web, apparently.
That's incredible.
She says her handler calls it the most, well-natured, nice-natured tarantula he's ever handled. Describes it as so calm.
So the kid who played the fearless girl with spiders now keeps one as a pet. That's amazing.
Isn't it? And apparently her own daughter wants one so badly now, and maybe even a scorpion.
Wow. Runs in the family, maybe?
It creates this amazing meta-narrative, doesn't it? Her real-life affinity mirroring her character's fearlessness. It adds this unexpected personal depth to the whole discussion about facing fears.
Yeah, it suggests maybe those early roles influenced her, or maybe her personality influenced the role.
Or both. It's a charming example of how those lines between performer and character can blur over time.
Okay, one last detail about the character, Courtney King. Her look.
Charlotte remembered her costumes were heavily inspired by Alicia Silverstone's character in Clueless.
Cher Horowitz. No way.
Yep, she specifically mentioned those little fuzzy pens.
The iconic pink fluffy pens, of course.
And she joked she probably stole a couple of those, too.
That's fantastic. It's such a concrete example of how 90s pop culture trends bled into everything, even Goosebumps character styling.
Making you feel really contemporary for kids watching that.
Exactly. It grounded the show in their world, made the characters instantly relatable through fashion. It shows that synergy between movies and TV back then.
So all this context, all these behind-the-scenes bits, what does it all mean? Because the conversation with Charlotte, it surprisingly shifted from just TV production stuff.
Where'd it go?
Into a much deeper, more universal discussion about fears and anxiety, really digging into the human side of the episode's themes. Okay, that makes sense, given the episode's title. So how do we confront our own fears? Is that where it went?
Kind of. Charlotte shared some really relatable struggles she has with social anxiety, especially at gatherings or parties.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She admitted she often struggles with what to say and then often says the thing that you shouldn't say.
Oh, that feeling. Replaying conversations later.
Exactly. She talked about that cycle of self-criticism.
So how does she cope? Did she share that?
She did, and it's remarkably simple but kind of profound. She just admits her anxiety out loud.
Just says it.
Yeah. I have serious anxiety right now.
Wow. It takes guts.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
But she finds that when she does that, others often respond with, oh yeah, me too.
Creating that shared experience.
Exactly. It normalizes the fear, makes it less isolating, and she finds it actually diffuses the tension she's feeling. It's this act of vulnerability.
That resonates so much, doesn't it? You see themes like that explored now, like in Inside Out 2, showing how universal anxiety is.
Right. It's not some rare thing.
No, it's part of daily life for so many people. Job interviews, meeting new people, starting relationships. It's there. Charlotte's insight is powerful. Admitting vulnerability can be a tool for connection.
Turning a weakness into a strength.
Exactly. It builds trust and can be the first step to overcoming the fear itself.
And building on that theme, Isaiah, one of the hosts, shared something incredibly personal
Right.
about overcoming his own deep fear. He talked about being honest about his Asperger.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah, he admitted he was super shamed for a long time, felt inferior, often felt like an outcast, just carrying that burden silently.
That sounds incredibly difficult.
He described the moment he decided to tell his teacher and then eventually his whole class
Oh my goodness. How did he describe that moment?
as a super big moment, said his heart was racing, called it one of the biggest nervous points of my life. You can just feel the tension he must have felt.
Absolutely, the courage that must have taken.
But by doing it, by confronting that fear and embracing who he was, he said he overcame that fear.
And the result.
He can now talk about it with no shame. He described experiencing this profound sense of freedom.
That's incredibly powerful. It really illustrates that transformative impact of confronting vulnerability, leading to self-acceptance, liberation.
Yeah, redefining something perceived as a weakness into a source of strength.
Amazing story.
So, circling back to the Goosebumps episode itself through this lens of fear, Isaiah mentioned that "You Can't Scare Me" really scared the daylights out of me as a kid.
What specifically scared him?
He vividly remembered the creepy imagery, the dark woods, the mud monster, that primal idea of being lost in the woods with a monster on the loose.
Yeah, that taps into universal childhood fears, doesn't it? The unknown, being vulnerable, isolated.
Definitely.
And he elaborated on that terrifying opening scene, right? The story Courtney tells in class.
Oh, yeah, that sets the tone immediately. The little girl, her grandpa, the ball stuck in the mud.
And then the hand pulling the grandpa under, just
Yeah.
gone.
Chilling, and then the monster emerges, roaring and rumbling toward you.
It's such a primal fear. The unknown lurking right beneath your feet, the earth itself becoming a trap. Classic horror trope for a reason.
Yeah.
Preys on those deep anxieties about losing control.
But then Isaiah shared his personal fear from the episode, and it was unexpected.
Oh, yeah. Not the monster.
Nope. He said he hates getting my clothes dirty at all. Like, really hates it.
Not seriously. Dirty clothes.
Yeah. So for him, seeing Hat slather Eddie in this mud all over his clothes is probably the scariest part of the episode.
Uh-huh. That's amazing.
He joked, "Dude, that's going to take weeks to get out of your clothes." It's hilarious, but also really specific to him.
That's a fantastic moment. It highlights just how subjective fear is, doesn't it?
Totally.
While one person dreads the monster, someone else finds getting muddy way more unsettling. It really emphasizes that everybody's afraid of something, and it can be completely surprising what triggers it for someone else.
Fear isn't always about monsters.
Not at all. Mundane things can be just as potent.
Building on that, Isaiah then shared his, ultimate personal fear, way beyond dirty clothes.
Okay, what is it?
Being in the middle of the ocean.
Ah, thalassophobia. Fear of the sea.
Yeah. He mentioned sharks, obviously, but also starvation, or just the sheer vast unknown. He brought up things like the movie Open Water, the story of the USS Indianapolis, that recent submarine incident.
Okay, yeah. Those are terrifying because they're about complete helplessness. Isolation.
Exactly. It's not just a creature feature fear.
No, those are what you'd call existential fears. Anxieties about vastness, isolation, unpredictable nature. They hit deeper because they tap into our vulnerability against forces way bigger than us, feeling insignificant adrift.
That makes sense. Okay, so the episode's climax down at Muddy Creek.
The boys' big attempt.
Right. They try to trick Courtney with Eddie dressed as the monster, their ultimate prank.
And does it work this time?
Nope. Because the real mud monster shows up.
Ah, so it gets genuinely scary.
Totally. Leads to this terrifying chase scene. Their worst fears are real.
But here's where the interview highlighted a really key difference, right? Between the book and the TV show ending.
Yes. This was fascinating. In the original R.L. Stine book,
What happens?
there are multiple mud monsters. And Courtney does get scared. She screams.
Okay, so the boys finally succeed.
Sort of. But she then uses the experience to prove monsters are real. So Isaiah called it a hollow victory for the boys. They scared her, but she still kind of won by getting validation.
Ah, okay. Interesting twist.
But the TV episode, it goes in a totally different direction, more cynical, almost darkly funny.
How so?
When the real monster appears, Courtney is not scared at all.
Seriously, after all that.
Completely unfazed,
Yeah.
she turns to the boys, calmly says, "You were right," like she's conceding a minor point.
Okay.
And then comes the iconic moment. She turns to this huge, terrifying mud monster and scolds it. "Don't interrupt, I'm talking."
No way. That's brilliant.
Isn't it? Totally unexpected.
So why the change, did they say? In the episode, what happens next?
Courtney just launches into this ridiculously long monologue, talking at the poor, bewildered monster for so long that the sun comes out and he dries up, stuck there listening to her ramble, solidified in this baffled pose.
Oh my God. She literally talks the monster to death. Or dryness.
Pretty much. The boys are just defeated, utterly embarrassed. Not by the monster, but by Courtney's unstoppable talking and unflappable nature.
That's a comedic masterpiece of an ending.
And it doesn't stop there. She becomes even more popular afterwards, gives interviews, claims she had a duty to save these two helpless boys.
Unbelievable. Rubbing salt in the wound.
Totally. And just as the boys are sitting there lamenting, life's not fair,
Yeah.
the rain starts again, the monster reanimates, and in the final freeze frame, it puts a hand on one of their shoulders.
Whoa. Like what?
Yeah.
Comforting them, threatening them.
It's ambiguous. Isaiah suggested it's almost like the monster becomes the unofficial third member of their crew, a shared symbol of their collective defeat by Courtney King.
Wow. That ending is something else. It's such a cynical, almost philosophical take on winning, isn't it?
What do you mean?
It suggests that sometimes, no matter what, certain personality types, the super confident, self-promoting ones, just always seem to come out on top, regardless of reality.
Yeah, it's a frustrating commentary on social dynamics, wrapped in comedy.
A dark, clever twist.
Hmm.
The real antagonist wasn't the monster. It was Courtney.
So true. Okay, shifting gears slightly. Some interesting production insights came up too.
Like episode rankings. Fans love ranking things.
Yeah, Isaiah put You Can't Scare Me in his top 25. Nick had it even higher, top 10 for the shorter, single episodes. Mentioned Revenge of the Lawn Gnomes as another favorite, so clearly a standout for them.
And they talked about the two-parters, right? How they often felt different.
Yeah, exactly. That perception among fans, maybe even within the production, that the two-part episodes often felt like they had more budget or more love put into them.
Suggesting a higher quality? Maybe? More investment.
That seemed to be the idea. It gives you a little peek into the production hierarchy. Certain stories got prioritized, maybe got more resources.
Interesting glimpse into how TV gets made.
And speaking of production secrets, the mud monster suit itself.
Ah, yes, the milkshake story.
First, Charlotte revealed the actor inside was Gary Robbins, a Canadian actor and pro wrestler, apparently. Passed away in 2013, sadly.
Chosen for his size, presumably. Big and hulking, she said.
Made the monster imposing, yeah. But the material.
McDonald's milkshakes, it's still incredible.
Right. She remembered it specifically because of the smell.
I bet. Imagine the smell on set.
And apparently the suit deteriorated like crazy afterwards. Unsurprisingly.
Because it was made of sugar and dairy. It's classic, creative, low-budget 90s movie magic. The kind of ingenious, slightly gross solution you'd come up with before easy CGI.
The logistics must have been insane. Sticky, sweet chaos.
Keeping bugs away. Keeping it from melting. A nightmare. But what a story.
Beyond the milkshake monster, she also mentioned the rain in the episode was all fake.
Rain machines.
Yeah, rain machines with long poles. Just interesting how they achieved those practical effects back then.
So what was her favorite memory from the whole experience? Did she say?
She did. And it was pretty charming, beyond touching the snake and the tarantula.
Which she seemed to enjoy.
Her absolute favorite memory was simply missing school.
Of course.
Yeah.
Perfect kid answer.
Isn't it? It's such a candid reminder that for a child actor, sometimes the biggest perk isn't the on-screen magic, but just getting out of class.
The simple pleasures of an unusual job. Love it.
But here's something interesting about recognition. Despite this memorable role in a popular episode,
Yeah?
Charlotte said no one has ever approached her specifically about Goosebumps as an adult,
Really? No one. That's surprising.
especially compared to others they mention, like Catherine Long from The Haunted Mask. That episode was huge. Or Eugene Linsky, constantly recognized as Mr. Mortman.
Or Ty Erickson getting fan mail decades later.
Exactly. It really shows how unpredictable fan recognition can be.
It really does. It prompts you to think about why certain roles stick with audiences more than others. It's not always about screen time. Maybe it's the emotional impact or just an iconic visual.
Yeah, how the public consciousness just latches on to certain things.
And often for reasons the actors themselves don't even understand.
But the interview did confirm that her character, Courtney King, has inspired fan art.
Yeah.
even if Charlotte herself isn't recognized on the street.
Ah, so the character lives on in the fandom.
Definitely. The Goosebumps Crew even has an official artist, Adam Ledford, who does art for their guests. And they shouted out Ron Stepanek, the original special effects creator who designed the Mud Monster.
That highlights the enduring legacy, doesn't it? The fan communities, keeping it alive, creating new stuff.
For sure. And the Mud Monster itself is apparently still popular. Trick or Treat Studios releasing figures and masks.
Shows that nostalgia is strong. These childhood things continue to be relevant, even commercially, and inspire new art. Lasting power.
But Charlotte herself, does she revisit the episode?
Good question.
In a really candid moment, she admitted she probably will never rewatch the episode.
Never. Why not?
Said it's not healthy for my mental health to watch your own past work.
Wow, that's honest.
Yeah. She said she usually only sees bits during, ADR sessions to fix dialogue for reruns, and even then she finds it a big old disappointment.
Ooh, that's a harsh self-assessment. But relatable for many performers, I think.
That self-critical eye.
Exactly. It offers genuine insight into that feeling, the psychological distance performers often need from their past work. It can be uncomfortable looking back at a younger, maybe less experienced version of yourself.
Especially when it's your job to be vulnerable publicly.
Right. You need challenges.
And then she shared this hilarious story about her own daughter's reaction.
To seeing her mom as a kid actor?
Yeah. Her daughter finds it genuinely creeped out, calls it super bizarre and weird, not even slightly cool.
That's brutal. And priceless.
And apparently her daughter had a really strong negative reaction to seeing Charlotte visibly pregnant in a different show, refused to watch it again.
Oh my gosh. Kids are just the most honest critics, aren't they?
Totally unfiltered.
It reflects that funny phenomenon, though. Kids struggling to imagine their parents having existed before them or having different lives. That generational gap in perception creates these amusing, awkward moments.
Yeah, grappling with mom having a life outside of being mom.
Exactly. It's a lovely human moment.
So finally, the interview just served as a reminder of how long Goosebumps has been around.
The anniversaries, right?
Yeah. The books hit their 30th already, and the TV show's 30th is coming up in 2026.
Wow. 30 years makes you feel old.
A little bit.
But it underscores the huge lasting impact these stories have had, doesn't it? Across multiple generations.
Still inspiring imagination, nostalgia.
And even finding new audiences. It shows the magic of that. Goosebumps blend the scares and the humor is genuinely timeless.
Yeah.
A real cultural touchstone.
What an incredible analysis we've had today, really getting into the richness of that interview with Charlotte Sullivan.
It really was fascinating.
We went from, funny pranks backfiring in a TV show, all the way to these really real personal challenges of confronting anxiety and fear in our own lives.
All seen through the lens of a classic 90s show and the experiences of someone who was right there making it.
It's amazing what unexpected depth you can find when you just listen closely to people sharing their stories.
Absolutely. This exploration of the interview really highlights how the stories we grow up with, the ones that shape us early on, they can unexpectedly mirror our own lives, influence how we understand things like bravery or vulnerability. It pushes us to look beyond just the monster on the surface.
Find the deeper human truths underneath.
Exactly.
So what does this all mean for you, our listener? Maybe it's a chance to think about your own mud monsters.
Your personal fears.
Yeah, those fears, big or small, that you've faced. Or maybe just those everyday anxieties you navigate, maybe with quiet courage you don't even recognize.
Or perhaps thinking about the Courtney Kings in your life. Those different personalities and how their confidence shapes interactions.
Good point. And that leads us to a final thought for you to maybe mull over.
Okay.
How have the stories from your own childhood, scary ones, funny ones, whatever, how have they shaped the person you are today?
Ooh, that's a deep one.
Yeah.
What surprising lessons or depths did you find in them? Maybe only years later, looking back.
Something to ponder. We hope this conversation gave you a unique shortcut to being well-informed, offered some surprising facts, those aha moments that make learning fun.
We really appreciate you joining us for this exploration of the source material.
That's it for this time. We'll be back soon with more surprising insights for your curious mind.
Greetings, boys and girls. My name is Isaiah Vargas. For over 3 decades, R.L. Stine's Goosebumps has reigned as one of the best-selling book series in history, spawning a monster franchise that's lasted since 1992 and spawning a massive fan base. folks who love to talk about this influential series. And that's where we come in. Join the Goosebumps crew, Nick Shaw, Bjorn Panelik, and myself every week as we dive into the world of Goosebumps and talk about everything from the books, TV shows, movies, video games, merchandise, and so much more. Many like-minded Goosebumps fans and a growing list of special guests join us. So if you want Goosebumps, get with the program. Tune in to the Goosebumps crew every week on YouTube and audio platforms. Become a Goosebumps crew member today. Listen with the lights on.